The latest version of FreeBSD 13.1 has just dropped, so here's a video for a quick install, setup and overview. So, what are the FreeBSD 13.1 changes? Well, here's a quick summary. ZFS has been upgraded to OpenZFS 2.1.4, UEFI boot improvements for AMD 64 platform. A change in the default 32-bit CPU type has gone from 386 to 686. NVMe emulation has been upgraded to 1.4 for Beehive. Support for the Hi5 unmatched RISC-V board has been added. SSH has been upgraded to version 8.8 patch set 1. And there's been many device driver fixes and additions. And interestingly, there's been some changes to the RTSOL and RTSOLD to disable the random delay between 0 and 1 seconds, which should speed up the boot process. And in fact, we'll have a little demonstration at the end of the video. A more comprehensive list of the changes can be found on the FreeBSD 13.1 changelog page. I'll leave a link in the description box down below. To see how FreeBSD runs on the Raspberry Pi 400, check out my Pi 400 week video, which I go into a little bit on FreeBSD 13, 13.1 and 14.0. Right, first of all, we have to go to the FreeBSD homepage. I type in FreeBSD and click on the first bit, which is FreeBSD project. And if we click on the big yellow button there, you can see it will take us to the FreeBSD 0.1 release, and you got various install images for various different architectures. And also there's links to the release information, and there's the 13.1 announcement, release notes, installation, hardware compatibility, readme, errata, and signed checksums. The release notes are pretty comprehensive. I only went over the very brief ones on the in the video, but for a more comprehensive list, then check out this page. Right, the install image we want on this particular occasion is the AMD 64, although you can choose really any of these, including RISC-V at the bottom, which is pretty cool. And you got virtual machine images, SD card images for the various single board computers, and extensive documentation. So we'll click on the AMD 64 and that will take us to the ISO and USB image list. And on this occasion, because I'm putting it to a memory stick, I want the, although you could use the ISO, but in this occasion we want the memstick, the AMD memstick.image. And it's uncompressed, but if you want the compressed one, then just the one below in the XZ format. And we're downloading. And the speed is not bad. I mean, this was done on the day of release, so the servers were under some strain, but the speed was still good. Anyway, I've downloaded it to a folder. You can download it where you want to. In this case, it's just a folder, so we keep things nice and simple. I'm going to open up a terminal within this folder. I'm going to use DD to write this to the USB device. You could, of course, use any method that you want or any program, such as Berlin Etcher, and you can do this on Windows or Linux or even Mac. I'm doing this on a FreeBSD machine, so DD is the best way for me. I'm just going to copy and paste in the image name, and the format is DD, IF, and then your image file name, and then OF for output file to the device you want it to write. And BS equals, and I usually put 4M, it depends on what your device can handle. Right, so that's done. I'm going to take it out of this machine and put it into the test machine, which is an Optiplex 760, and boot up with it in Drive. Now you have to set your system to be able to boot from USB if you want this to happen. Right, we go to the usual boot menu. Note seems to have changed. This is only a point release, so no major changes are going to be there. But it's always comforting to know that FreeBSD very rarely tinkers with things at work. So we're booting up as usual way. Right, so welcome to FreeBSD. Would you like to begin the installation or use the live CD? Or use the shell or live CD? Of course, we need to install. So select install. And there we're looking for the keyboard or key map layout. And in this occasion for me, I need to go down to, or up to United Kingdom. And we'll continue, don't need to test it. Choose a host name. Well, I use it for test. You can put whatever you want, of course. Now here you can choose the optional system components to install. I like to don't include the debugging. Keep the lib32. And I might include ports on this. You don't have to do this, of course. No, if you want to compile from source, then you need them. Partition your disk using, you could do a manual or UFS. I'm going to go auto ZFS. I did have someone commenting that that was the chicken way of doing it, but you know, frankly, it works. So why unduly put myself from an ordeal? Right, so it's telling me that zroot is already taken because the previous installation on this machine was Midnight BSD. So the zroot is already being detected, so I'm going to have to change that, and I'll change it to tank. Right, so proceed with installation. They're going to choose Stripe and that disk there. I'm going to leave the rest of these at default. I don't want to encrypt it. Some really good options actually, but I'm just going to leave them at default and proceed with installation. Last chance, are you sure? Yes. And off we go. Right, so it's asking for a root password. And let's type it in and type it in again. And there we go. And it's detected the Ethernet, so we just select that. IPv4, yes. DHCP, no, we don't want to do that. And we'll just put in the details manually. Okie doke, don't IPv6, no. Just enter the resolver configuration. No. And okay, we'll just enter country. I'm speeding through these because I've covered this before. If you've got any questions regarding installation, then drop me a message and I'll try and help you if you wish. Set the time. Everything's pretty standard. Choose the services. Don't want no dump dev. PowerD, might as well. NTPD date. Mouse, I don't need that. I might as well just leave it. Some hardening options if you wish. ASLR. We're just going to select all these. And I don't know, you could put them. I'm just going to leave them for now. And of course, we need to add users. Okay, we don't need to add no one else. No. There we go. And we can exit and exit again. And reboot. Not forgetting to remove the USB device. So we're booting up and the new installed. There you go. That was quick, wasn't it? And just type in. Whoops, I get my password right. Unless I typed it in wrong, let's hope I didn't. Right, we are in. And just to show that it is FreeBSD 13.1, put uname. And there we go, 13.1, release. Now we're going to start the process of installing a desktop to this. And let's say I've covered this in previous videos. And you can check them out if you need to know what I'm doing on this. There we go. A lovely desktop. A nice vanilla KDE plasma desktop. Very nice it is as well. I recommend if you're going to upgrade a machine, then you should back up your various files that you need. So we'd issue FreeBSD update fetch. And there's nothing need to be updated first, which is good. And the most important command is FreeBSD update -R 13.1 release upgrade. And all that will start the process going. Yeah, lib32, yeah, okay, that's fine. That looks reasonable. And if anyone has actually upgraded this way, then you know it can take a long time. It really depends of what you've got installed, if you've got source, etc. So, yeah. It can take a while. So we'll speed very quickly through this. Right. Okay, and then you might get some messages popping up telling you that they could not merge some configuration files. Now you can make the changes you want here. In this case, I'm just going to leave them as they are. So I'm just going to press Q on each one that pops up. Like I say, you make the changes you need to. Right. So we need to install the ones that we just now downloaded, which was quite a few. So we need to install the updates and complete the upgrade. And after that, we need to reboot a couple of times. And once we've done that, we should have a fully working and upgraded system. And here we are, back on the desktop of my workstation. And NeoFetch will tell us 13.1 release. Very nice. And it's just as good. No problems at all. That's one thing about FreeBSD when you upgrade a system. I mean, I know it's only a point release, but even then, there's nothing that really goes wrong, and it's a good experience. But anyway, FreeBSD 13 has been promised to boot up a little bit quicker than 13.0, so we're just going to test it out. We've got side by side 13.1 and 13, and it's already booted up a little bit quicker. This is not a scientific comparison, but I really did coordinate the two videos together. There were new installs, fresh installs, nothing else running in the background. And so, really, they're both vanilla boots, really. And you can already see that FreeBSD 13.1 is quicker. I haven't timed this, but you can see yourself, it's 7 seconds, maybe 10 seconds quicker. So yes, there is a speed difference in the boot up time, which is very good. Right, again, the FreeBSD developers have done a sterling job. Now, it's always difficult to review an operating system like FreeBSD because you get nothing visual to see, really. If you install FreeBSD vanilla, you'll just get the command line. You log in and that's it. But the beauty of FreeBSD is that you add it and you make it your own. You can turn it into a server, you can turn it into a desktop, home theater PC, anything you want. But it takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of work to do it. And as such, reviewing FreeBSD can be a little bit tricky. So in this particular case, I've glossed over it, really. I can't do it full justice because really I can't say anything different than I've done in previous videos. But one thing I have noticed about FreeBSD 13.1, it is remarkably quicker. Not only in boot time, but in just general performance. It seems that something's been tweaked. Now, I'm not privy to all the various upgrades that have been done, but the most glaring one is the boot process and the boot times. I didn't measure it, but the actual shutdown is also quicker. But the just general feel of overall using the system seems a little bit snappier than it has been, which is excellent. Nothing's changed on my PC. It's just purely the devs have done their magic. So, yeah, highly recommended. Get yourself a virtual machine image or install it to a PC or indeed upgrade your system and you shouldn't have any problems and you should enjoy all the benefits that we have of 13.1 with no pain. Excellent. 10 out of 10. Anyway, this is only a quick video. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you next time.